who is Professor Jose Cuello from the Center for Latino and Latin American Studies and the History Department, on the good life as a form of idolatry in modern society, the fatal transformation of the spiritual instinct into a material appetite. Thank you.
Thank you. Did anybody lose their Singerman's coffee cup sweet? I have it up here in case you want to.
Collector's item.
I'm going to read the abstract first of my talk, and then I'm going to talk a little bit more informally about the topic. You know that the concept of the good life is really an open-ended concept. I believe there's maybe about 7.5 billion people on Earth today, and each one of them is entitled to have their own definition of the good life. So if we're looking for a good life ourselves, how do we define it? What do we know what the good life is? And so I thought maybe getting away from individual visions of the good life and looking at collective patterns of what the good life might be in different human eras might give us a little bit of insight into where we are now and why I have this specific theme, which again is the good life is a form of idolatry in the modern world, the fatal transformation of the spiritual instinct into a material appetite. Now let me tell you the end game right here. I mean, that's the abstract. Then I'm going to go back and use another scholar's, I'm sorry, I'm not claiming to be a scholar, another thinker's, or when I can't think either. Somebody has written a book, Eric Wolf has written a book called Europe and the People Without History, and in it he posits that you can analyze human cultural evolution in 3 stages, although the first and second stage may last for a long time. They're not clear, they're not predetermined to evolve that way. The first one is the kinship stage, second one is tributary stage, third is the capitalist stage, mode of productions, really mode of productions. But let me read first what my conclusion about the capitalist mode of production first, and then I'll go back and put everything in a larger framework. Okay, this is an updated Chicken Little, maybe supersized Chicken Little thesis, that more than the sky is falling. In this presentation, I posit the idea that the good life is a term that best represents the worship of material consumerism that has come to define what we used to think of as the American dream or the American way of life. The massive advertising propaganda that bombards our senses through every medium of communication constitutes a national ideology. We all believe in it. We all practice it every day. We live by it. A national ideology of celebratory participation in the entertainment excesses of modern post-industrial society. Is that 5 minutes signal?
No.
Consumerism has become a religion of personal acquisition of goods and experiences that can never satisfy the mind or the spirit, leaving the everyday person to hunger for even more, obviously material things. The pursuit of material happiness has ironically created the opposite condition of the good life for millions of human beings. It has led, just in this country, let's not talk about people starving in Africa or whatever. I mean, that's the other world we're not talking about here. But it has led to let's see here. It has led to massive debt loads in credit cards, college loans, and home mortgages. It has led to the destruction of communities, families, individual psychologies, and what otherwise would have been healthy bodies were it not for the epidemics of obesity and diabetes. The illusion that one can achieve better living through chemistry, I don't know if you ever heard that phrase, DuPont, has led humanity to the brink of ecological disaster on our own planetary home. Perhaps a common sense return to an appreciation of the values of positive social relations, community building, and doing more with less can mitigate the impact of the impending apocalypse that the human species has created for itself in pursuit of the good life. I ran into, I was sitting at my kitchen table and reading the newspaper that I get all the time, and I read into this. This is in the Free Press. They have now done exactly what I'm saying. They have merged this is the new symbol of that buying season from Thanksgiving through Christmas. And, includes all these Black Monday holidays, and now you got, internet holidays. And what they did was they took a pumpkin, and instead of having a face on the pumpkin, they carved a Christmas tree right there. And then they decorated it with light bulbs, the Christmas lights. This is the new symbol of our, from November through, I don't know, it's 2 or 3 months of consumerism.
Pumpkin seed.
Okay, so how do we then, wow. Hey, I'm talking and somehow, it's like I'm on a microphone or something. Oh, no, okay. Let me go back and say, okay, what is the good life? What is the good life in these 3 conceptual stages that Errol Wolf gave us? It's a Marxist approach, and he's mostly materialistic, and he's talking about commerce, trade, power, etc., but I also add ideological and cultural. Okay, the first one is the kinship stage. That is basically hunting and gathering, fishing, when humans are still at the band and tribal level, early chieftain level, and they're entirely living in the natural environment. There is an environment that is both good for them and bad for them, because it can kill them, but it's the source of their life. And there is no break from that environment the way that we know it. They cannot take a vacation and go to Motel 6 or Las Vegas or any place else. They are stuck in that environment. So what would be the good life in a hunter and gathering mode in which there's no option to go into the tributary mode or in the capitalist mode? You can't take a ship into outer space. The good life there would be, first of all, surviving past 30. Most people died by 30, although some wise individuals could last a little bit longer. The good life then would be having enough food from hunting and gathering, so you would want to have, the good life would be that the gods brought the rains and that nature provided a bounty that you could gather. These people are food gatherers. They're food gatherers. They're not food producers. Food producers comes with agriculture. And then manufactured artificial food comes with the capitalist system. What else is good about the good life there? I believe that what have been mischaracterized as primitive people, I call them more the first humans, or primal people, have been the victims of very biased stereotyping by modern human beings. We think of them as sort of like they're somehow intellectually retarded. They don't have all the goodies we have, so they're not good capitalists. We use all our standards for how we measure ourselves in this mode to judge them. It's almost as if they were little children intellectually, and they grew up to be us now. But I posit the idea that they actually were the best balanced human beings in any mode. Why? Because in order to survive in the wild, you had to have powerful, healthy bodies. So you had to stay in shape. And your work was you had to work all the time. You had to be exercising all the time. Exercise was built into your lifestyle. Secondly, they had powerful minds. They were walking scientists. They had to be biologists. They had to know all the plants in their environment. They had to be zoologists. They had to know all the animals in their environment. They had to depend on these for life. They had to know the pattern of the seasons. They were weathermen. They looked at the stars. They slept under the stars every single night. They decoded the stars and encoded the stars. They created mythologies that were based on this total environment on Earth. And the other thing they were is they had this powerful spirituality. Every moment of their life was based on the relationship between life and death. They knew in the natural cycle that you had to have both to have life and continuity. and they merged into it. So they created a powerful ideology that said that there was an original creator. They did believe in a single creator at one time. It's this idea that somehow we invented monotheism and that's the greatest religion in the world, and they were confused. Let me explain to you what that was. They believed that there was a single creator who created the universe, the earth, people and animals, everything out of its own essence. And whereas the European would come over and say, hey, that stupid Indian is talking to a tree. That stupid Indian was not an Indian to begin with. He was a human being, and he was talking to an aspect of the deity. Thank you, 10 minutes already. Wow. He was talking to an aspect of the deity. He was talking to what we would call God through these many portals or accesses, because you were talking to energy, life to life. What's a good life? They were the way that they defined a good life is since they had no refrigerators, they had to be careful about what they killed and how much they ate. They had to preserve the animals in their environment. So as a result of that, they were very ecological. And of course, if you're looking at technology, because that is the major problem of society today, if you're looking at technology, they're basically intervening in nature with the most basic technology, hand tools, spears, bows and arrows. And so they're ecological because they leave no track of their existence except the stones that they used and other maybe cave paintings and stuff. But they were told that their life was totally biodegradable. And their way of life is best done in small bands. So I conclude from that really the primal state for human beings to be living in is small bands, small extended families, tribes, chiefdoms. That is now their spirituality, wow. They were the most spiritual of the three modes because they were continually ritually opening up the portal to the other side. On the other side were their ancestors, the animal spirits, and the creator and everybody else, the whole spirit world. And they felt that the spirit world was guiding them in this world, and they prayed and they gave back thanks. And for example, the deers or the buffaloes that they killed, those were sacred animals. And when you killed one of them, you purified yourself first, and then you killed it, and then you came back and purified yourself again, and you gave thanks through rituals. And they felt that they could not take more than what they needed. So that, in the good life, that's a good life in the hunting and gathering area. Not to die, to have plenty of food, and to be one with the stars and with the spirits. And their life was integrated. And they had sacred fire ceremonies. I'm not going to go into a lot, but they danced around. They had a feast. They had a big party, and they communed with the spirits. And they opened up what we call the Axis Mundi, which is a worldwide phenomenon, even in the other stages. The Axis Mundi is that pole that unites the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. It is also the center of the four cardinal directions. It is also, when you open it up, it's the beginning of time. They were constantly going back to creation. They were not celebrating, they were going back to creation. So that's that kind of good life. I think you had better chances for good life than to do in the next mode. The next mode, when agriculture arrives, when humans intervene in the natural environment and create agriculture, agriculture is like discovering a new power source that is like nuclear power, the equivalent of nuclear power or petroleum, you name it. Because now agriculture produces so much excessive surplus energy that you can feed people, hundreds and thousands of people that do not have to directly live from the earth. Somebody else will deliver the food for them. And at that point, the 1% that we think is now in the creation of the capitalist system rises up and takes control. First as chiefs, then as kings, then as high priests, warrior class, and eventually bureaucracies. They create a division between the 1% and the people at the bottom. All you have to do is look at Europe itself. Before the Great Migration here, the royalty lived rich, and then the people at the bottom, the 99%, were living the lives of slaves. And so there, the dream would be really split. Because for the rich, the good life means you've got to conquer people. In order to get the good life, which means material wealth to them, you've got to conquer people and exploit them. And what does the good life mean for the peasant down at the bottom? Just basically survival and trying to eat every day and not being killed by the Lord. And then what about ideology? The idea that we all access the Creator and the ancestors and the Spirit gets seized by the institutional church. In Europe, it's the Christian church. The Romans turned Christianity into a state religion. And now, what the state religion says is, we have control of the portal to the other side. If you want to get to heaven, you come through us. Thank you. If you come through us. And if you come through us, you have to say, you have to do what the priest tells you to do. And the first thing that the priest tells you to do is obey your damn ruler. And they preserve the idea of love and kindness and stuff like that. But what is it used for? An empty suggestion to the exploiters that they take care of the exploited. And an empty suggestion to the exploited that they love their masters, because their reward is on the other side, which can only be accessed by the people that hold the power. Now, there's a real rebellion against this. Number one, pagan people kept their religions and resisted a lot because they had their own portal opening rituals. But then the people that were Christianized and trapped by Christianity and the predatory state of early modern Europe, they can only turn as an alternate to what the Catholic Church was witchcraft and devil worship, which was simply popular practices in religion, which from an objective point of view, there was no trouble there. Okay, so what happens here? The 1% uses the 99% as cattle to build cities that were not necessary, to build monuments that were not necessary. Can you imagine somebody working at that time saying, hey, I don't want to use the surplus production from agriculture to lead the life of Riley and lead a good life. I want to go build a damn pyramid. Or somebody else. It doesn't work. So now what happens is that the tributary stage, or the tributary mode, begins to destroy the earth and ecology. The impact is greater. You have empires, you have world trade. Now the ecology is being disturbed. And monuments that will never go away. And machines, these are created there. And now a lot of the technology is warfare technology. You go from personal little warfare in the kinship stage to massive warfare, massive killings in the tributary stage. And then in the last few minutes, what are we in the capitalist stage? Capitalist stage is, again, the predominant ideologies are capitalism and democracy. We know now that capitalism is based on profit. That's the bottom line of capitalism. And we have elevated profit to a god. So everybody says, oh no, we can't attack the businesses. They create jobs. They create the prosperity. The key to this is that the capitalists found out that they can make profit, much more profit, by selling high volume at low prices to the masses than they could sell low volume, high prices to the elite. And they created the machinery, and they trapped millions of human beings into a new system of production in which some of us, and now all of us here, have been included in the forces that are destroying the earth, because they have created a way of life for us that we cannot escape. I cannot stop driving my car. I cannot stop driving using electricity. I cannot stop using all the artificial systems of life that deliver food and shelter and everything else that I need to exist. So this is the state that we're in. There's somebody just did a series on the brain, and one conclusion that the people studying the brain said was that the human being, if he is getting immediate gratification from something right now, he will stick with the immediate gratification instead of looking at the danger over here. And this is what we're doing. the early peoples used to have feasts, powwows, potlatches, etc. We are now in the capitalist stage in a huge potlatch, and we could not stop eating the world. And my suggestion is we better get back to respect for life, and we get it back to respect for the earth, and we can only do it by uniting the whole species. And unfortunately, I don't see how the species is going to be united unless once the terrible things come, we will be forced to do it, or we will be killing each other. Thank you.